What is up, guys? Welcome back to Buchanan Motorsports. I'm Brandon. Today, we're on the 2007 F250 Powerstroke. As you can see, the hood's already up. I've already kind of dug into what we got going on here. Stick around with me, and I'll kind of explain to you what we got going. If you ain't liked and subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. We're just trying to put out a little bit of content as we got projects coming up. I've got a pretty good one coming up with the 2007 GMC Sierra. We're going to get into some pretty good stuff on that one here in the next couple weeks, hopefully, next month or so. But today, this is what we got. Let's get in here and show you kind of what we got going on. What we had was a crank but no start situation with our 6.0 Powerstroke. This is kind of somewhat of a known issue that these things could potentially have, especially as they get a little older. This truck being 18 years old doesn't surprise me that we've had issues, but this is our problem right here. The O-ring. That O-ring and this dummy plug and downcomer is part of our high pressure oil system that allows the high pressure oil pump to build pressure and fire the truck up, the injectors. Now, I'm not a diesel mechanic. I can turn some wrenches. I know enough to, I guess, be a little bit dangerous at times, but basically what it's doing is, from my understanding, it has to see 500 pounds of oil pressure before it'll actually fire the injectors. And the only way we could get it to see any kind of pressure like that would be to spin the motor over and shoot a little bit of starting fluid in the intake. And I guess it would give it enough fire to spin it high enough RPM to actually build the 500 pounds, and then the truck would fire up and run just fine after that. Once it was running, it never had a problem. I guess we had enough RPM going that it was a non-issue. But today we're diving into replacing these dummy plugs. Again, common issue. This is going to be the kit, the Ford OEM kit, the upgraded or updated parts for this, and this is actually going to be the part number for both sides. This is the kit for both sides. Right now, I think my issue's isolated just to the passenger side, but we're going to find out once we get these parts back in if that was just indeed our problem. All right, so I kind of got our kit opened up here just to kind of show you what came in it. We've got a plug with an O-ring, another green O-ring. We got two of these dummy plugs, when we got two complete assemblies for each side. The fuel supply, fuel supply tube, I believe is actually what the technical name is for it. So it's two of these assemblies. And what actually happens is this piece goes down into the head. This one comes along into it like this, pushes into it. What happens is that O-ring right there, you can see cut loose, allowing oil pressure to get by and leak and not build the pressure we needed. The way we determined that was one of the biggest issues is we got one of these test fittings right here. I believe it's a 1/4-inch MPT. We basically just put a air hose fitting on it. What you do is, this is part of the this is the high pressure oil rail for the passenger side head. We put the fitting in there where normally the ICP sensor goes for the 04.5 and up, or for 04.5 to like 2007, maybe 10, I think it maybe was. It was that's going to be on the passenger side over cylinder 1. And basically what you do is you put this fitting in there. You take your ICP sensor in there, put your fitting in, you hook your shop air to it, and give it a few minutes. And what we started hearing was out of the oil fill tube on the passenger side, when we took the cap off, you could hear air blowing. Basically, that air is an indication of just what we found, an O-ring leak or a bad O-ring and an air leak. So that air leak obviously indicates a oil leak. The oil leak gave us low oil pressure. We're not allowed the engine to fire. So kind of where we're at with it. Kind of want to give you a quick update. This kit was at the Ford dealer, my local Ford dealer, was $214 after taxes. So I believe it was right at $200. It's enough to do both sides. It should do the passenger and the driver's side and get you up and running. Basically, we're just gonna follow along here and do the passenger side. And for now, I'm not gonna take you through the whole thing. Basically, it's a rinse and repeat, passenger side to driver's side, and hopefully we get this old Powerstroke up and running again. All right, here's our fuel tube and dummy plug wrapped up. As you can see inside of there, there's a sorry, hopefully it focuses. There's a spring in there. Again, allowing everything to build the pressure, and then going into your high pressure rail up here. What we're going to do is make sure that this is assembled. By the way, this is one piece. This is the other piece, as I showed you before. But we're going to put a little bit of oil on these O-rings. Get that all ready to go. Get everything kind of nice and slicked up. What we're going to do is we're going to bring that up in here. You're going to bring it, and it's going to go way back here in that hole right there. Okay. Now we're going to have to get all this cleaned up before we button everything up, but just kind of wanted to show you where that's supposed to go. That long tube goes in, you know, face down, goes in down, and then you can put the rest of it in. If you do happen to pull this apart, just kind of show you on the old one, it's really easy to tear these up and getting them out. They're kind of stuck in there. That O-ring gets down in there, and it's kind of a pain to get out. You see a little bit of damage right there. And I was being very, very careful to get that out of there. It doesn't really matter. When you buy these, you probably just want to go ahead and buy the whole kit. I believe you can buy this stuff individually, but I believe that just one side was going to be $140 something, and then the whole kit was $200 for both sides. So, you know, if you do happen to be just piecing this thing back together, be very careful of scoring this up, because that is where your O-ring goes down in here and makes a seal, and you don't want to tear that all to pieces. So let's start putting this thing back together. As you can see, we had to move some of our wiring harnesses, our injector module that sits right here on the passenger side valve cover. Obviously the valve cover, disconnected the battery obviously first from both sides, and then basically the hardest part of this whole thing so far was there's gonna be some bolts back down in here to get the valve cover off, and the high pressure oil rail. That is going to be the hardest part, because you got the very little clearance, excuse me, between the AC box here and the head, and getting the right tools in there is kind of a challenge. I mean, it's not impossible. It just takes a little longer than you like. If it wouldn't have been for that, you could have had this whole valve cover and everything pulled off in, you know, probably 20 minutes or so without any kind of major interruptions. But anyway, just kind of wanted to show y'all what we had going on there, and then let's start piecing this thing back together and hopefully get this thing fired up. All right, guys, we got that the first tube installed down in there. Just kind of wanted to show you what it's going to look like with it installed. It is a little bit loose in there, but make sure you kind of got it pushed down. That O-ring kind of holds it pretty good. We'll just have to be careful when we go back with our high pressure rail, that when we go back in with it, we don't want to have it at an angle or, you know, cocked a certain way. We want it pretty flat. And when you go down, when you actually seat it, you're going to seat it straight down. Don't like I said, don't have it at an angle. You can actually damage the cups on the back side of it, on the opposite side that go basically over to your injectors. This is actually your injector right here, your ejector harness. You can see they come up here, they plug in right up here. Move this out of the way a little bit. You can see the plug, another plug right here. Basically that goes down. That's where you're going to get your get to your injector. So basically the same process to get to your injector if you needed to replace one of those. Anyway, just kind of wanted to show you what you had there. These are the little nipples that I was talking about. We're going to make sure that those are nice and clean. There's no damage. If there is any type of damage, these are serviceable. You can take these out. There's some O-rings and whatnot behind those. You can replace those. Ours are looking actually really, really good. I don't see really any signs of major damage, anything like that would lead me to start replacing all that. So we're gonna keep moving forward with it, putting this thing back together. All right, here's what it looks like with the high pressure rail installed. Again, it's super easy. This piece is pretty heavy. Again, this is just a fitting for testing purposes. Actually, could be removed at this point. But what we're going to do is install these bolts right here. You got, let's see, 1, 2, 4. I don't know. You got about 8 of them or so, maybe 9 that are going to go in here just like this. They're Torx fittings, and we'll get the torque spec on those and get them torqued down. Again, like I said, the hardest part you're going to have is trying to get those. You've got 2 or 3 of them back there in between that box and the rail itself. So you see how space is getting pretty tight. So we'll start working those in, take our time, get them torqued down. And then what we're going to do last is come in here with our new piece. That tube that we put in goes right down in here. We're going to come in with our new piece, just like so. Basically install that down, get it torqued down, and we'll also install the black one right here. This is going to be where this new piece goes, right here. Goes right into that hole right there. It also gets torqued down, and after that, we should be getting ready to install the valve cover. This is not a super complicated process. You do need a few tools. You need to do some patience. But other than that, if you've done any wrenching, you know, to a moderate degree, you should be able to do this no problem. They say the passenger side is the toughest side. I believe it's because of the limited access you have to a couple of those bolts back there. Driver's side, you're gonna have to take off a few more things. Take off your intake tube, your intake box, your overflow reservoir, your fuel injector control module, the FICM, right down in there. Silver module back down in there. You have to take that off the head. Other than that, you should have a lot better access to it. So we'll see how she goes. All right, well, that was a fight, especially with those bolts way back up in there. But we got them all in, got them tight. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to install the top portion. Back here, we're going to get some oil on it, make sure those O-rings are good and lubed up. I'm going to install that down in there, get it torqued up, and get ready to install the same here on the front side. It's the black one. That'll go right here. And then we'll get ready to start putting the valve cover back on. I did take the ICP test adapter out. Again, that was just for the air test. got it pulled out, so that's what it'll look like whenever you get that pulled off. Drop something?
Yeah.
There it is. All right, so I kind of had to pull this fender liner out a little bit to get to the last couple valve cover bolts. Maybe you can see them up in there. They're kind of a pain to get to, but this is really about the easiest way to get your hand up in there so you can get to them. Right now, James is putting on the couple nuts, getting the dipstick tube for the oil secured back to the stud. Those studs are 12 millimeters. The valve cover bolt / stud is 12 millimeter. The little nuts that go on top of them are 10 millimeters. And then we got to put the, there's going to be another bracket up here that's going to go right in here around your ICP. So that you can bolt that module back on there. Other than that, we'll get the oil-filled neck put in right there, kind of in the middle of the screen. ICP sensor put back in. Get all the harnesses plugged back up. The coolant line plugged in right there again. And be well on our way to firing this thing back up. All right, getting our ICP sensor plugged back in. If he doesn't tear it up, best thing to do is look at it has got a 3-prong. Look at it before you start just jamming it in there. That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That right there is a sensor basically reading your oil pressure in your high pressure oil rail. If you're having problems with cranking, that could also be the problem. You got that. You got the IPR that's way back there in the back. Sorry for the wind. If you're hearing a wind, the wind has gotten crazy out here all of a sudden. But you can get the battery hooked back up. Get the some of your turbo tubes, your intercooler tubes hooked back up. I think we're almost there. Get this thing fired up and see what happens here. All right, we're back together. Got everything hooked back up. All the tubes put back together. Everything's looking the way it should. I got our clamps tightened up down in there. I need to find the cap for that. I don't even look like it had one. We'll get that figured out. But gonna get ready for a startup here. I would suspect that now that we've had all this stuff apart and had the oil system pressure drain down and all that good stuff, it's going to be kind of a rough start. It's probably going to idle a little weird until it kind of gets its act together. Again, I'm not a diesel mechanic, but just common sense tells me that this is probably going to have a little bit of a rough start. May take a couple times. We'll prime the fuel system up with a key a couple times, get that squared away, and then we'll go from there and see how she does. All right, he's cycling the key a couple times. Sure thing. All right. Hey, give the starter a break, bro. Lord. All right.
The battery's dead.
Well, we're gonna put a little jump pack on it real quick. Looks like the batteries are maybe a little low from cranking on it the other day, and then we'll try it again.
Corrosion. This thing can jump anything.
Yeah, shout out to this Yabber Auto. I don't know.
It's got air compressor on it.
Something like that. It's a combination jump pack, air compressor, one of those things you put in your car. I think it was about $100. Little Amazon special. So it's come in clutch a couple times. Try to build some pressure. Come on, baby. There, you hear it build pressure right there. We're gonna give it a minute, let this battery kind of charge up. All right, that was taking too long. We decided we're not playing games now. We got the 2020 over here. Got the cables put on it. We can figure out how to do that. Without tearing my stuff up, that'd be great. All right, now we're cooked up here. Maybe we'll spin this thing a little bit faster now. There it is. Had to build enough oil pressure up in there to get it fired up. Like I said, if you don't see that 500 psi minimum on that ICP pressure, then it ain't gonna fire up. So, like I said, once we drained that whole oil system down, so it took it a minute to get enough oil in there to build the pressure. So, the high pressure oil pump doing its job. We'll give it a minute. Idle seems pretty good. I thought it was going to be a little bit worse than that, but looks like we're doing okay. I need to have to throw a couple batteries in this thing. Metal Craft 850s right there. Getting a little weak. He's got to give him some pictures for the Instagram or whatever. I don't know what he's doing. Old Dad saved it. Old Dad saved him again. That's all I know. Now we gotta get our mess cleaned up. We'll cut back in here in a minute. We'll get this thing cleaned up. Just final comment. All right, guys. That wraps this 6.0 project up for today. Got the dummy plugs on the passenger side that had the bad O-ring. Got that fixed. Took a few minutes to get it cranked up, get all the oil moving in the right spots, get that high pressure oil system primed back up. But it is working. So again, this is the finished project. It needs to do a little cleaning, but it ain't too bad for an 07. I've seen a lot worse out of newer trucks. But anyway, if you ain't liked and subscribed, go ahead and do that. We'll hopefully have some more fun projects around the corner with the 07 Silverado, or excuse me, GMC Sierra. But for now, this is what we had to work on. Had to get this thing back on the road. So she's up and running. We appreciate y'all watching. Again, come back, stay with us, tell all your friends, all that kind of good stuff. We're just trying to make content that's relevant to everyday people. Not trying to be somebody crazy and famous. We just we want to help people, so this is how we're going to do it. Again, appreciate y'all. This is Buchanan Motorsports. Y'all have a good one.